Hello everyone. Welcome to Everyday Essential series of Shantha Lakshmi IAS Academy, where we are going to discuss the essential topics for prelims perspective from the Indian Express as well as the Hindu. So today, as part of this exercise, let's discuss the topics from 1st July 2025. So this 1st July has a significance. That is the 1st July is the National Doctors Day. National Doctors Day, and also it is the GST Day also, that is Goods and Services Day, which was introduced in the year 2017, and this National Doctors Day was celebrating from the year 1991. So today, as part of this series, let's discuss first about the Hul Divas, the second about this Quad at the Sea Ship Observer Mission, and third about the Digital Services Tax, and fourth about the Mulla Periyar Dam, and finally the Rwanda country as part of the mapping series. Before going to our discussion of the topics, so there is an announcement from the Shantha Lakshmi IAS Academy. So Shantha Lakshmi IAS Academy is offering you a free weekly prelims test. That is the track weekly prelims test on every Saturday as part of our Elevate Holistic Guidance Program 2026. So you can enroll to this free prelims test by calling to our number, that is 9000222737. And also for the month of June, you want to test your progress regarding the current affairs of for the month of June, you can download our June test, that is 4 weekly prelims tests which we have conducted in the month of June from our Telegram channel, that is the Shantha Lakshmi IAS Academy. So you can download the question papers and you can write the answers, solve the test and check your progress. And from this Saturday, July, every Saturday, you can enroll and directly write the test. So you can have the real exam behavior. Moving to our first topic, that is the Hul Divas. Actually, this Hul Divas was celebrated on 38th June every year. So why we are discussing today? So this Hul Divas is celebrated on 30th June, right? That is on yesterday. So regarding the part of these celebrations, the villagers of this Jharkhand's Bognath village in the Sahibganj district dismantled the stage, which is decorated for celebrating this Hul Divas. So in that dismantling process, the police resorted to lathi charge and fight tear gas on the villagers. So let's see about this Hul Divas. So Hul Divas means it commemorates the Santal rebellion. And this 2025 also marks the 178th year anniversary of this Santal rebellion. So we all know the Santal rebellion. It took part in the year 1855, exactly 2 years before our 1857 revolt, that is considered as the first war of the Indian independence. So the Santal rebellion is an organized war against the colonial practices where the British resorted to the economic and social exploitation in the form of money lenders, in the form of a permanent settlement system and the corruption and all other insensitive things. And this Santal rebellion is led by the two brothers named Sidhu and Kanu. Also, it included the participation from 32 castes. And other communities also rallied in support with this Sidhu and the Kanu. So originally this revolt took in the year 1855, but the seeds of the discontent sown from the in early 1832 only. So in 1832, the East India Company created this region, that is the Daman-e-Co region. Damini Koi region in the forested belt of the Rajmahal Hills. And this Damini Koi region was allocated to the Santals. Allocated to the Santals, these Santals were displaced from Birbhum, Murshidabad, Bhagalpur, Bharabhum, Manbhum, Palamo and Chotanagpur areas which belongs to the Bengal presidency. Then Bengal presidency. And what the British has told the Santals, the British has told the Santals that they were promised the settlement and agriculture. Settlement and agriculture in this Damini Koi region. But what they did, they resorted to the repressive practice of land grabbing and also the begari, that is the bonded labor, which of two types, that is known as the kamyoti and the harvahi. Remember these two terms, kamyoti and the harvahi are the bonded labor resorted by the British East India Company against the Santals. So, over the years, the Santals found themselves at the receiving end of the exploitative practices aided by the British. So, they took to this rebellion. But this rebellion was crushed by the British in the year 1856, where both Sidhu and Kano died. So, this is about the rebellion. But who are these Santals? These Santals are not the original inhabitants of this modern day Santal Pargana, which consists of 6 districts. Those are Dhamka, Pakur, Goda, Sahibganj, Dhiogar, and parts of the Jamtara. So the Santals are not the original inhabitants of the Santal Pargana area, but they had migrated from the Birbhum and the Manbhum regions of now present day Bengal, but the then Bengal presidency. So why they migrated? See, in the year 1770, there was a great Bengal famine, right? So because of that famine, the Santals began moving. And soon, in the process of their movement, what the British found? The British found these Santals. And what the British told? British found Santals to be helped by them. How? See, in the 1790, the British enacted the Permanent Settlement Act, right? Or the Zamindari Act. So further, the British East India Company was desperate to bring an increasing area under its control, that is under the settled agriculture. So they created this Dhamini Koi region and they asked Santals to settle in this region so that the agriculture will be improved and they will get this revenue from this Permanent Settlement Act. But what the British actually did, they resorted to the Bhegari, that is the bonded labor. And the Santal is the third largest tribal community in India. And these are spread across the Jharkhand and the Bihar borders, Odisha and the West Bengal. So this is about the Santal rebellion or the Hul Divas. Now moving to a second topic, that is the Quad at the Sea Ship Observer Mission. So why we are discussing this? The coast guards of these Quad nations. So what are the Quad nations? These are the four: India, Japan, United States, and the Australia have launched this Sea Ship Observer mission to deepen the maritime cooperation in the Indo-Pacific. So the idea for having this maritime cooperation of these coast guards was announced or adopted during the Quad Leaders Summit in the September 2024, which was held in the year last year. There they adopted this declaration. What is this declaration? Is known as the Wilmington Declaration. Wilmington Declaration. And this Sea Ship Observer Mission is the first of its kind initiative which involved the Indian Coast Guard, Japan Coast Guard, United States Coast Guard and the Australian Border Force. So this mission reinforces the joint maritime readiness between these four forces, that is the Coast Guard of all the 4 members of this squad. And as part of this mission, 2 officers will represent, including women from each participating nation. 2 officers will represent this mission. And currently, the mission started at the United States Coast Guard cutter Stratton, which is en route to the Guam, USA. This is the current position of this mission. Moving to a third topic, that is the digital services tax. So why we are discussing this? See, in a bid to restart the stalled trade negotiations with the United States, the Canada scrapped its digital services tax hours before it was due to take effect on Monday. See, the Canada country launched this tax, digital services tax, and the Donald Trump has called this tax as the direct and blatant attack on the US. And the President Donald Trump has stalled all the trade discussions with the Canada. So to continue this trade discussions, the Canada has stopped this or scrapped this digital services tax. So let's see what is this tax. So this tax was announced in the year 2020 to address that many large technology companies operating in India to pay tax. So it was announced in the year 2020 and it was designed to retroactively implemented in the year 2022, and it was designed to come to be effect from 2025 and yesterday, that is from June 30. But this tax was scrapped and it is a 3% levy on the digital services revenue, a firm made from the Canadian users of above $20 million in a calendar year. So this would have a significant impact on the American technology giants such as the Google, Meta, Apple, and Amazon and other American technology companies, which would have to pay roughly $2.7 billion to the Canadian government. If the tax was implemented, these companies have to pay $2.7 billion to the Canadian government as part of this digital services tax. So what does this Canada's U-turn mean? See, Canada is the United States' second largest trading partner after the Mexico and also largest buyer of the US exports. But at the same time, the Canada faces the steepest of Trump's tariff. So scrapping this, and also Donald Trump stopped the trade negotiations because of this digital services tax only. So now Canada has scrapped this digital services tax in hoping the negotiations between the trade deal between the Trump and that is United States and the Canada. Now moving to our fourth topic, that is Mulla Periyar Dam. So this Mulla Periyar Dam is often in news since the years. So be careful and be alert. So why we are discussing this? The Tamil Nadu government continue to release water from this Mulla Periyar Dam in Kerala. And all the 13 shutters, 13 gates of this dam were open to release the 250 cusecs of water. And regarding this opening of these gates, the Kerala people are concerned because these waters may flood into those areas. So this Mulla Periyar Dam is situated on the Periyar River, which is the longest river of Kerala. And this Periyar River is also known as the lifeline of Kerala. And also on the Mulla River, that is, it is a tributary of the Periyar River. So that's why the name Mulla Periyar Dam is situated on the Idukki district, Kerala. See, the dam is situated on the Kerala, but it is owned and operated by the Tamil Nadu government for a period of 999 years lease during the British era. And it is also situated on near the Cardamom Hills on the Western Ghats. And the construction of this dam was completed in the year 1895 by the John Pennycook during the British era. So the most important one, remember, the dam is situated in Kerala, but it is owned and operated by the Tamil Nadu state by having a lease period of 999 years from 1895. Now, moving to the mapping, that is the Rwanda. So, why we are discussing this? Yesterday, in our everyday essential series, we discussed the peace deal between DRC and the Rwanda, which was signed by the US, right? So, yesterday we discussed about this DRC. Now, let's see about this Rwanda. So, this Rwanda is the landlocked country in the East Africa. It is the landlocked country. See, this is Rwanda here. This is the DRC and it is surrounded by the Uganda, DRC, Burundi and the Tanzania. Small one, it is the Rwanda. And this Rwanda is located a few degrees south of the equator. And this, due to its higher elevation and the many number of hills, this Rwanda is known as the land of the thousand hills. Its capital is Kigali, which is situated on flows through this Rugandwa River. And coming to the economy of this Rwanda, this economy is based on the subsistent agriculture. And this Rwanda is a member of the United Nations, African Union, Commonwealth nations, and others also. So that's all for today. Thank you.